So we are back to make an omelet. There are many types of omelets. You have the griddle style, which I don't really have a griddle big enough to work a 3-egg omelet, so we're not going to do that. What we're going to mainly do is, you could either call it the Waffle House style omelet perhaps. It's reminiscent of a frittata or a French omelet. We're going to make the omelet in our 8-inch pan here with 3 eggs and some very simple ingredients. The more ingredients you add to your omelet, the more finicky it's going to be when it comes to getting it to set and getting the omelet to really turn out how you think it should. Tomatoes are an evil, evil enemy of the omelet because they have so much water in them that it makes it hard for the yolks and the whites to set, for the omelet to set. So if you're working with tomatoes, if you want tomatoes because they're delicious, I would suggest adding the tomatoes at the very end and in small pieces so they cook quickly, just kind of in the heat of the omelet, but they don't leak a lot of water out into your omelet and make it hard to come out with a good omelet and for it to be all broken up and stuff like that. You can use, of course, mushrooms, spinach. You want to make sure the spinach is kind of wrung out. If you're using any type of frozen spinach, you can just saute right in the pan and then add your eggs and go from there. Today we're going to just do some green onions and some cheese with some parsley in the omelet. So I'm just going to get my little scallions here. Okay, so we've sliced through our green onion. And if you notice, this is a chef's knife. This is a kind of a smaller one, a Santaco. There's a grip to a chef's knife. You don't just grab it by the handle like that, and you don't want the death grip on it. You actually want to kind of choke up on it a little bit. You're going to put your thumb along the spine of the knife and a couple fingers up here. If I was working with something really fine, I could even choke up even more on the knife, but right here is going to be kind of your bread and butter position, your workhorse. Green onions are recyclable. If you're just using mostly the green part, you can save the white and you can put it into a little container here. And I've got 2 that I used earlier this week. This one is one that's already started to shoot up a little bit of green. This one's a day or 2 younger, and this one's going to be added to it. And in a couple weeks I'll have more green onions, and these just sit on the windowsill. So we're going to start the omelet on medium heat. I've got just a little bit of Munster here. I've got the 3 eggs. We're going to take our whisk and we're going to make sure these are well combined. I'm going to add a little bit of kosher salt. I'm going to add a little bit of ground black pepper. And I'm going to add some parsley. I've got a pretty neat trick to store parsley in the freezer and keep it where it's really fresh. I'll show you that later in another video. But we're going to get the yolks here where you don't see any more white or individual yellow. Everything's combined into a nice even consistency. Alright, with the omelet we want to use the spatula, and we're going to work pretty fast to get everything combined. So I'm going to start with my onions just a little bit. Of course, if you had any other vegetables you were sauteing at first, mushrooms, ham, whatever, this would be the time to add them. Of course, these are green onions. They're very thin, so they don't need a lot of time at all in the oil by themselves. So I'm going to go ahead and add my omelet, or my egg mixture. I'm going to give it a quick stir so all the onions aren't just on the outside. And I do want to keep a little oil handy. I might need it in a little bit. Alright, I'm going to give it just a few minutes to sit here because I want that bottom to start to set. And now I'm going to take my spatula and I'm going to scoop up the side and I'm going to tilt it just a little bit towards my spatula because I want that raw egg on top to switch places with the cooked egg and get underneath. And I'm going to work all the way around the egg, the omelet. And if it seems like it's cooking a little too fast, I can just step off a little bit. And just kind of work my way around. Now here's where adding just a little bit of oil is going to help us out. Just a little squirt because I want the egg to be able to move pretty freely when I get ready to flip it. And we don't want any brown on our omelet. We want the omelet to stay that nice, beautiful yellow color. Alright, and now we're going to flip. Just a quick roll. Same technique we did before. And you can see that there's no brown on that. Just a nice, even yellow color. I'm going to add it back there. Once again, I don't really want a lot of time right here. I actually like the omelet to be a little custardy in the middle. So maybe not all the way set. I'm going to give it a quick toss back over. I'm going to add in my cheese. This is just a little bit of Munster. And I'm going to take my plate and I'm just going to roll it over like that. And we have one 3-egg omelet.